Hello, hello, hello out there, internet land. We're back on the wagon tonight, and I got the wrong screen on here, but that's all right. I'll fix it as we go.
Fix it
Anyways, we're
both.
off to the next installment of ASHENed Wagon Adventures, where we are basically setting up our war camp for the big battle on Balak against Andropinus. I will pass things over to the DM here. We are going digital tonight. We had a few illnesses, but that didn't stop us tonight. Plus, we had a big snowstorm coming in, so it was just kind of the general consensus it was better to meet this way tonight. So,
Yeah.
without
Just
further ado, John.
personally, just man, like fuck snow.
Yeah, for
so,
real.
Fuck Al
but
Snow.
yeah,
We hate him in this household.
All of my homies hate snow.
that Canadian rapper, get out of here.
Yep. Jon
But
Snow,
yeah,
hate him.
Jon Snow, fucking,
Good thing he's a
uh,
Targaryen.
the 1980s term for
Spoilers.
cocaine, everything. But hi, hello everybody. So last time, you guys had brought Cora back to life. She had kind of rehabilitated herself into being able to fight again. You guys had started doing some operations. I have my notes here that you guys accomplished. You got better food, so you can have +1 It says hit dice, but I'm just gonna add +1 hit to your guys' forces. Poison. 1 unit of archers has poison. I will go ahead and add that special ability into whatever archer unit that you want. Argus joins as an assassin elite unit, so I'll have him as one of your possible commanders that'll have an elf unit here. And Kurog joins as a unit of clerics. Him and his fellow giant shamans. That's I believe the Thunderstone tribe, or
Thunder Rock.
Thunder Rock. Yes, brought some of their remaining shamans down. And then remove 2 units, 2 merc units from Balak. You guys had distracted them to defend the bridges against any possible army incursions. And then Gildas became a special weapon rider. We'll have that unit available if you guys want to create that. So, I believe you guys also had accomplished the goal of -2 to all DCs in any future endeavor that you guys want to try to take care of
By the
here.
skin of our teeth, if I remember.
After much
Yeah.
effort and rolling, and
So you guys rolled the power die last week, or like in game last week. So you don't have it available this week. And I think what you guys gonna go for? I think it was take 2 actions next turn.
That sounds about right.
I think so.
yes.
But we'll go ahead and start with the city itself is kind of becoming a more tense environment. You see gangs of, I'll say, not like ill wishers, but like people like doomsayers, like the end is coming, the end is nigh, being like arrested on the streets. Like the people of Balak know that something is coming. It's like it's in the air.
The West
Hmm.
Balak Church.
Yeah, the West Balak Church.
Oh
They're
God.
picketing all the funerals. It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Terrible, just terrible.
But you guys are still organizing your forces. You have some letters and some correspondence coming in. So I will start. I guess I'll just kind of start at the top of my chat log here. So we have this week coming up here. What would you? Let's go through your forces first, Minor. You have access. You get some correspondence coming in. There is 300 volunteers from the various halfling tribes coming in to Balak to help assist with your like liberation operation. Because remember last week you had sent out a letter to the old lead hunter,
Yup, Sillin.
Sillin. So this was his response. He has spent some time gathering forces, and he can be there in about 3 weeks with these forces.
Okay.
So that would give you 3 squads at that point. You also receive a missive from the Aarakocra of the Black... let me see here. I believe the Black Canyon?
I forgot about them. Yeah, because weren't they being like enslaved by mind flayers?
They were, yes. The Black Spine Mountains by Cromlin. You also receive a letter from them, or a missive, that's saying that they have heard that your conflict is coming to a head. They see forces moving. They're going to send another 200 of their various tribesmen to help you out as well.
Cool.
So overall, you're looking at about 500 forces total. So far as the breakdown of that goes, I have kind of in our chat here listed the different types of units I would say the ones available to you probably immediately are artillery and aerial. The aerial units can attack anything. They can attack aerial and any other like target, but they can only be targeted by artillery and other aerial units. And kind of the same with the artillery, they can attack anything, including flying units. So that is a kind of an option for you there. What type of kind of like unit breakdown do you think that you would want to try to strive for your kind of 500 men breakdown here? Because it takes about 100 to make a unit.
So I'm looking at basically 5 units, you say?
Yes.
You said I got 200 Aarakocra coming in?
Yes. They're a little bit more malleable. They don't have to be airborne if you don't want them to. They can be, infantry. Basically, they don't have any mounts, so they can't really be, they can't really be cavalry unless they want to ride something. But they could be like a higher rank, higher tier like melee unit if you'd like.
So likely that could be aerial infantry or artillery.
There's a unit called the Human Aerial Hawk. I'm looking at here of the MCDM kind of units. We're just going to go off of them. They are a tier 3, so they'd be a little bit up there with experience. Essentially, the way it breaks down is that you can have one less like tier 2 than you have tier 1s, and that kind of goes the same going upwards. So if you have 5 tier 1s, you get 4 tier 2s, 3 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, and 1 tier 5. You're gonna basically pick what unit you want to kind of promote as your star unit, essentially. Like, what one of your units do you think you would want as like the one you want to promote the most? With the Aarakocra, they can fly, but they're not going to be as accurate. But your halflings they can't fly it, but they're going to be like sharpshooters.
They don't like the Aarakocra. They could be infantry, but they have much better mobility, I would assume.
Yes. So they could fly. So like if you're looking at the map of Balak, those quadrants are kind of separated by elevation. They could move between those lines without having to go to a gate, essentially. So if you wanted to have like a green or an orange go to blue, and then the blue go to green, you could do that like that.
Whereas otherwise, like the halflings would have to find a way through a gate. Or whatever.
They would have to move to one of those gates, work their way through that area, and then work their way to the next gate. Yes.
I guess I'm not entirely sure what you're asking. How to break them down, like,
I think he's asking like what kind of focus do you want to be? Do you want to have the between all the forces you have recruited? Do you want to focus more on aerial, artillery? Am I correct?
Yes.
That's what I'm
Do you want to
assuming.
focus more on aerial artillery, land-based artillery like your halflings, or like you can just do like a unit of aerial like infantrymen that are basically just like units that are ground units that can move along and fight the ground or whatever. It's just gonna be you're gonna have one unit that's gonna be higher than the others.
A more trusted unit is what you're saying.
Yeah, you're gonna be pouring more of your resources into that unit.
I will say that my plan is to mislead the like the city guard, like all the troops that are going to be inside the city. I want them to be preoccupied, and I'm going to like feint a attack on the docks. If that helps, like kind of give you an idea of what I'm planning on doing, so you can kind of like work around that if you want.
This is where Jeremy's biggest plot twist comes in.
Yes.
This whole time,
Yeah.
we thought he was a melee fighter, but he's actually been a mage.
He didn't just take one level of warlock. He took like 17.
It was all a ruse.
So I'm kind of thinking the Aarakocra. I got 2 units there.
Mhm.
There'll be infantry. I don't
Okay.
know how we can work this, but like in my head, I'm thinking they're almost like paratroopers. They can fly and come in and drop in where they need to and cause some havoc or whatever, or help.
They will be an infantry unit that can bypass those barriers, essentially.
Right.
Okay. So
And then how many units did I have of halflings? Did you say was it 300?
300, yeah.
Oof, I don't know. Do I want them all artillery or like do like 2 units artillery, 1 unit infantry?
And I will send you the stats of all these things that we're going to be going over to take a look at like during downtime so you can kind of figure out how you want to use them as well. But I guess for right now we'll just make this one decision at a time because you guys are going to essentially what's everybody's proficiency rating?
6.
5.
6 5
Everyone should be 6 if you're level 17.
6 okay.
Oh, okay.
Proficiency bonus, yes. Level.
So you can all command up to 5 units, essentially. We're just gonna figure out what rankings those are gonna be, because there's only gonna be so many available to all of you. So if we break it down, so everybody has 6, you're gonna have 30 total on the board. Oh, so if you have, I'm gonna say you have the resources to get one of your things up to 5. But if you do like, if you had, let's say you have 10 level 1 units, you have 9 level 2s. That's 19 of your 30 right there. And then you could break it down to has like 8 level 3s, and then like a level 4, level 5, stuff like that. So like you have so many slots to break down stuff with. But mine are, you have 500 of your personal resources to use, like to kind of like pick what units you want to throw into this mix.
Okay, so I could also say like I want 3 of these units to be tier 1 and 2 of them tier 2.
Yes, absolutely. Because the tier 3 and tier 4 are gonna have better attacks, like equipment essentially. They're gonna be more of your focused soldiers that have like the better gear, better armor, more training. But I'm gonna say that you guys currently, with your current like faction setup, can only get like 1 level 5. But let's say you wanted to do what, like 2 level 100s you said, or 3 level 100, 3 level 1s and then 2 level 2s?
Kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking something along the lines of like, of course, the 200 Aarakocra would be infantry, and then maybe doing two units of halflings as artillery and 1 as infantry as well.
Okay.
But like the tier 2 units, 1 would be the Aarakocra and the other would be the infantry halflings. I don't know. I'm just picturing in my head like the Aarakocra can get in over that wall or gate and distract people, and then like the infantry halflings have a better chance like getting through if needed or something like that.
Okay.
Just pulling this out of my ass and see how it goes.
Okay. And then, like I said, you have one of these would have access to that poison, like you said that you created for this as well. So, that being said, what would you like to do with this week of time?
This is a new week from what we
Yes.
did from the last time we played, correct?
Yes.
I think part of the thing was I had some access to poisons that I wanted to try and distribute the the forces that Andrew Pinus brought in that are outside of the city, if I could try and get them sick or weakened or something somehow with these poisons, get that infiltrated through there, and then I guess would be if there's a way I could make more foods or stuff, or train others to make more of these foods, whether they're spider cakes or beasties or what are the other two, the Uki cookies and the seafood.
The ookie cookie.
If you want to try to poison the enemy, that would be an espionage roll that's at a +8. If you want to try to get, I'll say like a one-time usable buff for one of your units, like a wall climb will give them the ability to to bypass a thing like they had flying.
Right.
I'll say that would be more of a lore, so that'd be at a +7.
The poisoning's at a +8. I might try that because it's a little better. So we want a D20 roll and
Yep.
+8.
Yep.
Adding anything else to it from my character sheet, or is it just a D20 +8?
This is off of just the characters. I'll say go ahead and add, because you are a rogue, I'll give you like a kind of an affinity bonus to this. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
Didn't have my dice out.
Oh man. 19.
But they
you
were
don't
sort of
have
out.
that.
They were in the bag still, so I had the bags out, but they weren't out of the bags.
The cat was not out.
All right, so that's a nat 12 and a nat 14. So the 14 + 8, 22.
22. Okay. I will say that one elite force will be poisoned. They'll have that condition. They'll start poisoned. Okay. You go throughout the camp, and slowly and surely you kind of, you know what you need to do to make somebody sick with your food, because like you know what you can stand, but like the normal human stomach can't, and you just start kind of like spiking food rations with like bad syrups and bad poisons and whatnot. It takes you the better part of the week to get the most of like one giant unit of like 100 people. But you are able to get one of the mercenary units sick. So I went ahead and wrote that down on the ongoing benefits.
Little does our party know that it's all Snafu's been doing is feeding him weird stuff to see what makes them sick, and he's okay.
This has been the long con. Okay, so with that, that'll be your week's action for this week. Not the party action, but that'll be your particular action. Jesse, you have. Let's
Present.
see. Going over my notes, I believe you have a bit more. Let's see. I have for you, you have 300 soldiers and 100 wizards. And then you would have your 100 Yanti. So it looks like you have about 500 to divvy out as well.
Okay.
So your Yanti, you're going to choose one of your units. Like I said with Minor, he had to kind of choose one of his units to be like his most elite. Out of your units, your I don't remember the name. Those are the drowned or the soldiers, or are those your cultists?
The drowned are my personal guard. That they were the former skull breakers or skull crushers.
So would they be considered your melee fighters then? Kind of breaking this down into like what are they in a sort of of those 6 types? Like what would they be? Like any sort of caster would be considered your casters would be considered artillery, but they just use magic instead of arrows.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd probably be like my most elite.
Okay.
The bulk of my forces were the Myrmidon. They were the former.
Myrmidon.
They were the former Dune Vipers.
Okay. So if you wanted to like basically increase the unit's strength, it's going to be your drowned, your elites, like the casters.
Well, the drowned aren't necessarily casters. The cultists were casters.
Right. So I guess that's what I'm asking you is if you're gonna have one unit that's the most highly trained. And your choices are your casters, your assassins, or your soldiers.
I'm gonna say my casters.
Okay. So we'll go. And you know what I'll do, man? What I'll do for you too, Minor? We'll go like 1, 2, 3. So like, what would you want your most strong of your 3 units to be, Minor? Like your Aarakocra infantry, your halfling artillery, or your halfling infantry?
It's a damn good question.
I'll let you think about that. Just think about that while you're sitting there. So Jesse, your most powerful is going to be your casters. What about your second most powerful? Like, what do you want to put your mortar racers into? Your Yanti assassins or your soldiers?
My soldiers.
Soldiers. They'll be tier 2, and then your tier 1 unit will be the Yanti. Okay. All right. So far as this week, what would you like to accomplish? Excuse me.
Just what do I want to do, or are there options?
Just anything that you feel that your character could do to improve your either your forces' abilities or just your faction's standing. Because I know right now you have a lot of materials coming to you right now. Would you want to distribute those to your forces to maybe get like some bonus to attack or some damage?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say, looking at your sheet here, we'll say that's an operation. So it'd be rolling at a +4, and then for the domains a +5. So you're rolling at a +9. Go ahead and roll me a d20.
I got a 10.
So 19?
Yeah.
Okay. I will say that 2 of your units are going to get a +1 to damage. Two of Jesse's units get +1 damage. So you're able to sneak that ore into town amidst like various grain shipments and food shipments inside the city. Once it's distributed, you have a network of your informants in and outside of the city start making like the easiest thing is probably like daggers and arrowheads, but there are like some steel weapons being made and distributed throughout your forces. If you want to try to repeat that again for next week, Jesse, you can do that, or if you think of something else, you can do that too. Because we're gonna keep going until you guys either stop or something happens. But,
Okay.
So that's your action for this week, Jeremy.
Okay. So what I want to do is going to be based heavily on what I can coerce the guy who was put in charge. Whatever I can get him to agree with me.
Let me look up his name.
Piss baby. I can't remember. What was his name?
Piss baby.
I got it right here.
But yeah.
Hey, just to throw out there too, I still have 10 feet of actual chain. So if somebody might have an idea for that, it's okay if you guys want to use it, or
That could be
could be
used in something too. Like if you want to use it to, like, on the day of the operation, we are gonna chain shut this, this gate, or this, whatever, to try to, like, maybe lock down a location or.
right. So I'm just throwing out there so everyone
Yeah.
knows I do have it. That you guys can throw out suggestions for.
This
it
is
too
the
if you
very-
need it, so.
This is the very use your imagination, highly interpretive part of our game. So, but his name is Duraxis. You were on the War Council with Duraxis.
So yeah, with Duraxis, basically, I'm going to be giving him. I want to tell him what I would do if I was an invading force, but I'm actually going to be kind of lying to him.
Okay.
But I'm going to frame it. I'm gonna tell him what I would do if I was an invading force that didn't know what I was doing.
Okay. So, what do you want this to accomplish? Like, what do you want his forces to do?
So I want them to be concentrated in an area, and then what I'll do is I'll have the Kank Striders set up like barricades, blockades, like choke points and stuff like that to prevent them from getting to where they actually need to be. So I'll point out like weak spots, but like they're obviously not gonna fucking attack there, but this is a weak spot.
So what I'll do then is for your weekly action, you're going to pick a quadrant on the map: purple, blue, green, or orange.
Okay.
And for each success, like every multiple of 5 that you get, that's going to be one of the Andropinus' units is going to be in that quadrant, like in a space that you specify when things go down.
Okay.
So we're going to do espionage because you were actively lying. That's going to be a domain of 5 with a skill of 3. So that's at least 1 unit right there. But go ahead and roll me a d20 and add 8.
13.
That was adding 8.
Correct.
Okay. So that is 2 units that you will be able to place in what quadrant do you want, Jeremy? And it's going to be anywhere in that quadrant.
Let me get. I'm looking at stream right now. Let me get this up. Where the hell is it? Way up there. Alright. So the main forces are right outside of the gates at Orange, correct?
Well, those red circles are where a lot of the enemies are going to be originating. Those are Templar / guard posts
Yep.
that are throughout the city.
But isn't there like a whole army on the outside of the walls?
There's going to be a few that start on the orange gates, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna convince them to be in blue.
In blue, okay.
Yup.
So you'll place 2 enemy units in blue.
Yup.
Okay.
And then it looks like on the northwest corner of blue where the little tiny red circle is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't mind that red circle. That was a mistake.
Is that like a terrain feature that like a staircase or something to get up to that level?
Yes, that is the gate that rises from the ground level of like the poorer part of the city up to like the noble area.
I'm going to, and if this goes outside of the bounds of my capability at this week, I want to have the Kank Striders sabotage that.
That will be like for next week. So that will be like your operation for the next week.
Okay.
It's gonna like it took you all week to argue like we need more forces in Blue Quadrant. Like that's where they're gonna hit. They're gonna hit the rich people where they live. So we need more guards up there.
Yeah.
So far as your forces go, Jeremy, I think yours are the most versatile. So you have access to I'm gonna say one squad. It's not gonna count as 100, but it's gonna count enough to be a squad of giants. They're gonna be your shamans, but they also, because they're giants, have the artillery type. So if you want them to destroy or attack one of those red circles, they're going to be a lot more effective at doing that.
So I'm thinking the green quadrant is Andropinus' castle.
Yes, that is the high nobility area. It is only accessible through one gate. That's that one where that B is.
Yep. Oh, so purple can lead to the green as well too.
Purple can lead pretty close, yes.
Can I have the shamans find a path? There's like a mountain range to like the southeast. Can I have them try and find a path into purple from outside the city?
That would be another operation for the week, but you could do that.
Okay. What would my plus be on that one?
Well, I'm asking what you want. Like, I guess you have about. I'll just give everybody about 500 to work with. I think that seems fair.
Great. Okay.
So, what do you want your forces to be kind of centered on? Yours have the most versatility because they have the most training. I'll say, but the only thing you don't have access to is aerial units.
Because I ultimately want them to focus fire on Andropinus.
Okay.
And-
Well, do you want your giants to be your most outfitted group?
Yes.
Like your most effective? Okay, so giants. It's going to be your 3. Okay. You also have, I'll say, a good at least 400 able-bodied
Kank Striders.
King Striders that could ride cavalry. Cavalry forces are a little bit faster, but they can only attack things that are going to be isolated or units that are like weakened. Like essentially things that are bloodied. They won't be able to like repel a cavalry charge as well. So they're a little bit limited, but they're faster. But you can have your heavier artillery or heavier infantry. It's up to you.
For the cavalry, I'm gonna want for the Kank Striders, sorry, I'm gonna want them to be inside the city gates.
Yes. The whole battle is going to take place basically inside the city gates.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna want them to be cavalry.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
And that's a sound choice because there's not a lot of options inside the city walls for them to be effective.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be mostly infantry, and I'm gonna like kind of have them just. What I want them to do is pretend to be fighting with Balak, but they're gonna be sabotaging Balak.
Okay. So you want them? Do you want like your rank 2, the majority to be infantry and maybe a little bit to be artillery, or do you want them to all just be infantry?
I'm gonna focus them all infantry, and
Okay.
then I'll have my giants be the artillery.
The siege.
Yup.
Okay. So you have infantry 1 and infantry 2. Just you'll have to split them up.
Yep.
Infantry 1 and infantry 2. Okay. There's also a unit that all of you will have access to called Levy. That's essentially like in Warcraft when you get the peons to become soldiers. You guys will be able to conscript like everyday resistance members to form smaller squads. You can do that unlimited amount of times, but it's going to be easy points for the enemy to take out those squads. And like they said, if they get double your points, like if you're killing units but they're wiping out the citizenry, it's going to be kind of hard for your rebellion to keep going if all of the people that you're trying to free are dead. So Just keep that in mind. You can field as many levy troops as you want, but they're like really squishy. They're just kind of there to afford you better units. So, okay. That is your action for the week. We'll then go to Jared.
All right.
Jared, your
Yeah.
forces, you have access to, surprise, surprise, Wambus and Bambus have volunteered a vast number of both hunters, warriors, and druids to the cause. You have 200 halflings from the village coming that are going to be fulfilling can do like an artillery role or an infantry. You also have access to the elementals that were granted to you by the fire elements that you were besieged. So you're going to have access to a larger unit of just basically an elemental kaiju that will count as a full unit. And lastly, Argus had come thinking, telling you that he has some agents to come. He also worked with, I forgot his name. Our bard.
Oh,
Alisher.
I'm sorry. Talisier.
Talisier and him are also going to bring in a group of elven cutthroats and basically like ne'er-do-wells to act as more like an infantry unit under your command as well. So you're gonna have about 500 folks to your command, but just one of that 500 is a single giant elemental that is like the size of a whole unit.
Okie dokie.
So where would you like to kind of place your power priority? You'll have your elves, your halfling druids, and your elemental.
Well, am I allowed my weekly action still?
We'll do that. Yes, we'll do that. We'll have to have that choice at some point. But what do you want your weekly action to be?
Okay, so this kind of goes in tandem with what I want to do anyway, so this will all make sense here in a second.
Sure.
For this week's action, I would like to pray, meditate, and appease to the life spirits, like the healing spirit that I have, to see if we can maybe rouse up a infirmary, so to speak. Healers.
So you want like a
basically.
healing spot on the board?
Well, what I was thinking is I was going to take the infantry that I have and basically make a mobile unit that can help troops that are in trouble, like move maybe, be mobile from one area to the other.
So you want like maybe a lower level healer unit?
Yeah, it'd be something that, our elves and halflings would protect while our fire spirit, goes and does its thing, but we'll basically move as a unit from where we might be needed, where there's heavy casualties or maybe trying to get citizens out and safe and whatnot.
I can do that. That's doable. Go ahead and give me a diplomacy. So you'll be rolling a +8. Go ahead and give me an advantage with that too.
Okay. Diplomacy. Oh. +8 to the diplomacy.
Yes.
Okay. That will
And
be
you're rolling this with advantage.
an advantage. Okay. 19 for the first roll and 18 for the second roll.
Okay, so 19 was your total?
With the +8?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I will say that you'll have to dedicate a rank 2 to it for the training, but I'll say that if you want to use up one of the rank 2 slots, they can have a healing ability that'll have like a cooldown.
Could I use an inspiration? On that?
What is do you want like a lower level to have this ability? Like a level 1? Is that what you're
Maybe
trying to do?
maybe just more units if that would help.
I'll tell you what. If you want to
Okay.
use an inspiration, I'll let you do 2 level 1 units will have this ability instead of level 2. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
I will do just
2
that.
level 1 units have heal ability. And it's going to be, because like the most HP anything on this board is going to have is like 8.
Okay.
like as a unit HP. So your healing it will do like maybe like a D4. That's still a lot. So
Yeah.
that could be like half a unit's worth of people.
Well, I essentially was just hoping to get like a little safe spot for our, troops. Like, the fresh ones move forward, the weak ones come back. Maybe get a little bit of a rebuff and go back at it or whatever. But
We have a unit that can essentially act as like a healing spot.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That is doable.
Okay, awesome. That's what I'd like to do.
Okay. And then out of your units that you have, what do you want to place more resources into?
And that's. I'm going to my Discord here.
You have your elves,
Aerial.
your druids, and your elementals.
Okay, so the elementals.
Well, elemental. I should
Elemental.
say.
Well, I'm including the healing factor too.
Yeah.
So I have. You said aerial. All
You
those
do not have aerial. You essentially have siege, artillery, and infantry.
siege, artillery, and infantry. Okay. The siege being the fire elemental, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The fire elemental I will have go out ahead any given point we're at in the map and assist whoever's the main front.
Do you want them to have because there's so many rank 3, rank 2, whatever spots?
Yes.
They're going to be more powerful. Do you want your elemental to have a rank 3 spot, or do you want it to have lower priority?
Let's start lower priority and we will adjust as needed. So maybe like a 2.
Okay, I will start with a 2. So,
Okay.
what do you want to pour the most of your resources into at this point?
I would probably stay somewhere mid just so I can be flexible and go where I need to go.
Not want to claim a level 3 spot and leave it for other people?
Like claim one, or excuse me, could you repeat that? It cut out a little.
Do you not want to take up a level 3 slot and maybe leave it for your allies?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So between rank 1 and rank 2, where would you want to put your druids?
The druids, I'm assuming are healers
They're
and
going to be
casters.
your artillery.
Artillery, okay. So let's put the druids with the fire elemental in 2,
So rank 2, okay.
and then
Your
infantry-
elves will be rank 1.
okay, and then the infantry and myself and the healing and whatnot will all be in the back row. Like, would that be a
You're
one?
going to be playing all 5 of these units, Jared. So, you're going to be overseeing the whole of
Yeah.
your force.
Okay,
So-
like 3 being the lead front, like the main front, or the back row.
No, just this. We're just talking level of unit, the level strength.
Oh, okay. I thought we were doing positioning. Okay,
No. We're talking strength levels.
strength level. Okay, for that matter, the fire elemental for sure top out.
Okay, so you want to have him as a number 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then the infantry to defend us. So 2. Making
And
sense?
then your druid artillery, do you just make them 1?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I'll hang with them with the healing spear.
Okay. All right. That was your weekly action, and
Okay,
that was
awesome.
that. Okay. And for this week, it's going to be Micah. You
Alright.
have. We're going to give everybody about 500, and then I'll give a chance for some people to kind of promote from within. You have access with your 500 to essentially the same thing that Jeremy has, but where Jeremy doesn't have access to aerial, you have access to aerial. Because now you have Wyvern Riders.
I was gonna say I was actually gone for most of Jeremy's, so I'll take your word for it.
Okay, yeah. I'll actually say the one thing you maybe don't have is cavalry. You don't really have mounted units. Your cavalry is more airborne.
Mm-hmm.
So out of your 500, I'll just say able-bodied warriors, what would you want to plug maybe the strongest unit into?
I definitely want to focus more on aerial.
Okay, so maybe your Wyvern Riders?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Basically, the idea I want to go for is I want to use the Ankaku Silt Strider as like an aerial fortress,
Okay.
and then have the Wyvern Riders around it. To
That well, what essentially that's gonna be is I'm gonna have like everybody have a thing for a rank 4. Like, what is your idea for a rank 4 unit? That'll be that. And then we can promote like out of those ones that are rank 4, we'll pick one that gets extra support and it'll become your strongest, like your flagship unit, and that'll be the rank 5.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll have for right now for your base forces, you want your aerial riders to be the strongest.
Yeah.
Okay. The next strongest, so your level 2s, what would you like to make them be? They could be, you could have both be artillery, you could have both be infantry, you could do one of each. But the only thing you don't really have access to is a siege monster. Well, no, you have a dragon. I'd say he would be your siege monster, but he would be like his own unit, like Jared's elemental. Because artillery are going to be able to shoot things across the board here, but they're going to be able to be essentially picked off by their artillery. Infantry is going to be basically walk up and hit shit real hard. They're going to be their strongest hitting with the most HP, just not a lot of mobility.
So, I would probably have. Trying to think how I want to do this based around the idea, because I have my Marauders and then I have my Dragoons essentially.
Right.
So I was trying to think what we would break those down into.
Well, essentially, one would be a rank 2, so they could have more, like, harder abilities, harder armor, better attacks. Which one of those two would you say is like your more elite unit?
Probably the Dragoons. Yeah.
The Dragoons. Okay, so we'll put the Dragoon infantry as your rank 2.
Because they're dragons with one extra O.
And then your Marauders as your base force. Okay. So first, your weekly action. What would you like to try to accomplish this week?
I'm trying to think of what I can do to really like promote. Let me see here real quick. I'm pretty sure I got something. Would it be possible? It's kind of reaching, but
I mean, this is the reach time. It's all good.
all right.
Reach around.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay if no. I have a backup plan if that doesn't work. Would I be able to see if my familiar would have anything it could recruit from the Feywild?
Okay. No, that's definitely a thing you could do. I'll say that'll be a lore, because it's more of a magical secret. Like, what would you want? Do you want like a unit's worth of things, or do you want like a buff?
I guess it would be a unit's worth of things, yeah.
Okay, that'll be a little bit bigger of a DC, but that's okay.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead and roll me a lore. That's gonna be a +2, +5, so it'd be 7. Because you are our sort of our caster psychic, I'll go ahead and give you advantage on this one.
Okay, so D20 +7 and
Yes, with
advantage.
advantage. Yes.
Okay, so that's a 23 or 21.
23 will get it. What did you want like this unit to be like? Like what would you want it to do?
Mm, hmm. I guess I would want it to, because I guess most of my focus is going to be in the air most of the fight.
Mhm.
I think until it comes to, across the road or something like that, or ahead. I guess, yeah, I'll just put more baskets and something to support us in the air.
So you want like another aerial unit?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say that you are able to kind of connect yourself with the Feywild, and through that, you get a smattering of Fey creatures that kind of come through a portal you're able to open just temporarily. You get enough of these creatures, that be they other pseudo dragons, maybe like purple like blood hawks, like large, strange like vampire toucan bat type of creatures. But these various menagerie of flying creatures that'll act as an aerial unit that can, deal damage. Just as on a smaller scale, it'll be like
Yeah.
another level 1.
Okay.
But yeah, summons an additional unit of, let's call them Fey creatures flying. Okay. There's just a big purple flash at the estate. No big deal. We're just ripping open portals in other dimensions.
Yeah.
And now we have a basement full of weird creatures. So, okay.
Yeah. That's
All
like that's like what happens in Arkham all the time, but on a safe scale.
Yeah.
Man,
Real
wait until
Cthulhu.
mom and dad come home from vacation.
What are
Burl,
all of
burl.
these animals doing in our house?
Fucking Dr. Doolittle over here.
Mhm.
All right. So now it's time for the weekly intrigue action. You're summoned to Meech's parlor to have a council meeting to kind of compare notes. What would you like the intrigue action for this week to be? You have the list of intrigue goals there. Also, feel free to add anything you think you could try to use the whole organization's forces to try to tip the balance into some way. But I have in our general chat here posted the existing goals that I have here.
I know something that I would like to see happen, John.
It's gonna be up to your fellow council members. So
Well, I don't know if it would
I
be an
think you
intrigue
mean
action.
Group members.
I don't know if it would be an intrigue action or if it would be somebody's like weekly action, but I think we need to like sow some like
Needs of distrust.
yeah, distrust or like
Another Yanti and vampire situation.
no, it's basically gonna be like so like nobody knows where Andrew Pinus is, right? He's been out of the city for how long?
He's locked in his chambers.
He's just holed up in the palace.
But like
Yep.
nobody's seen him, right?
Not that you know of.
So I would be like I would go out to the soldiers and or like the guardsmen and be like, hey, why are you protecting somebody that might not even be in the city? Like, what's the point of protecting Andrew Pinus when he's not even here? You're just laying down your life for no reason.
Because they're getting paid to be here.
Jesse,
Why would-
you're supposed to be on my side.
I am
Why
on your
would
side,
you-
which is why I'm not letting you waste your time and potentially out us.
I didn't say I was doing it. I said this is what I would.
Yeah, I know you're not going to do it because we're eliminating that as a possibility because I've just pointed out the blaring flaw in your logic.
You're a blaring fly, jerk.
I didn't even
Why
get
would
it
you-
in my head.
Why would you want to work for a guy? You know how they made that tax cut recently, and now you guys have less rations? Yeah, it's so that Andrew Pinus can stay another week at his Airbnb.
If anything, this is a
dude.
Jeremy. If anything, this is a pitch you should make to the other Templars.
Oh, so now my idea is a smart thing now, huh?
It needed
I
direction.
didn't. I wouldn't go
I-
that far, but
I just had I make the little snowball, right? And then I push it down the mountain, and then you guys just add more snow onto the snowball so it becomes a big snowball.
However, this seems like more like a weekly action. This is like a smaller nudge in a larger direction. Like this is like your whole faction trying to do this. So big money moves.
Jeremy, big money Hanford over here.
Big money, all whammies. All right, let's see what.
I also remember you guys clamoring last week as to thinking that your top two were
We
figuring
did
out
wanna-
the schedule of how many weeks you had left of actions before the army arrives.
You said miners' forces wouldn't be here for 3 weeks, right?
Regardless, yes.
Right. So we at least have 2 more weekly.
I mean,
turns.
do you?
I mean, I hope so. We also wanted to put a scrying device in Andrew Pinus' chambers. That was one of our big things.
Yeah, because that's what I was going for. I said we need to figure out what he's doing, essentially.
Yeah.
That would be your big thing there. You would have a 1-to-1 spying device in his room, essentially, like in his inner chambers.
You would see him in his underwear, guys.
I really hope he talks to himself out loud a lot.
Monologuing. All good
Man.
villains do.
I sure had a long day of trying to become a dragon today.
He talks like very passionately to like a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
All I could do was make my fingernails grow.
Fluffy, none of them know what I'm going through.
He's just calling his mom on his like scrying device. Mom, they're being mean to me again.
Her soul's been in hell for years, like centuries. She's like, stop calling me.
I just want to sleep.
How come you only call me when you need something?
I imagine Andrew Pinus sounds a lot like the necromancer from Venture Brothers. Just everything he says is just over dramatic to the max. Yeah.
Mother, why? Anyway, y'all have an action.
I mean, so now we have -2.
-2, everything just became easier by 2 degrees.
Yeah, I say either we do something along the lore table, or I'm down for this is my personal vote. Lore table or place scrying device in Andrew Pinus' chamber. Because now we also have 2 actions, right?
I thought so, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, you had 2
succeeded on
actions.
that.
You did succeed that last time. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah,
So
2
yes, this
actions.
time you
and
will
we
have 2
-2
actions.
to everything.
Yes. I'll go ahead and place. I'll place in the espionage wing that figure out how much time you have left. You'll be sending scouts across the desert to like see where everyone is.
I think scrying and time left would probably be the wisest,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. Information will win this battle.
That's what lore is information.
Okay. So this is going to be espionage. It's going to be a +3. And then with your domain be +5. So you're looking at +8 total. The DC will be reduced by 2. And if you have any sort of inspiration that can be used to re-roll whoever rolls this. It's gonna be fairly high for the scrying device. I'll say that's gonna be your first one. I'll say about medium. Like if I'm going the color difficulty, like that's gonna be like a red difficulty. Getting the device in the chambers. Figuring out time left is gonna be like a yellow. So who wants to cast the die?
I've been rolling like butt. The one roll I've had.
I rolled good for the 2 I had, but can I take a minor argument of my specialty is
What now?
scrying? So could that give me some sort of advantage?
I don't know. Do you have anything that could give you advantage on a roll? Say like an inspiration?
Nope.
And this is anybody on the team can spend this, by the way. If anybody has an inspiration, I'll allow them to kind of throw it in the pool.
I
Also-
wasn't going to be part of our inspiration for the last die roll.
Well, somebody was also sitting on like 5 of them last time we were doing this.
Yeah, I got one I can spend. I'll do on the device.
Okay.
Well, it's your inspiration, Jared. You roll it up.
All right. What am I adding to the roll now?
Plus 8.
I'll say it again. Okay. Oh snap! That's a nat 16 with the 8, without inspiration.
That is a success.
Okay.
Utilizing just a scullery maid that pays no mind. She's told to drop off a package for Andropinus in his chambers. Meech has made a statue of a ship, like a fleet ship of Balak, with a small glass bead on the sail, like in the seal of Balak. It is a few days after it is opened, and once it sees the light of day for the first time, it is activated, and you see inside a grand chamber of blue and like yellow marble, like marble with blue and yellow accents. A vast library of scrolls and books scattered across a large table. A large chair pulled up to this table. You see off in the corner a bedroom, a large bed, being unoccupied. It's almost you can almost see the dust that is gathered there as the lack of sleep of Andropinus for the past few weeks has taken place. But you do see Andropinus's form skulking across this room, and it is going through the notes that you had given him. It is playing with a small similar object that looks like the one that you found in Guisenol that altered the DNA and altered the form of any human that got into it, but it's just on a smaller scale. You see a series of dead rats, half turned into dragon-like creatures, laying a pile of dead creature bodies in the corner of his chamber, and he himself appears slightly changed. His ancient yellow skin, his golden skin, now having a bit more of a bluish hue to it in spots. He has maybe gained a foot of height as his legs have begun extending outward. He has 2 small nubs on his back where you think maybe the sprouts of wings have begun, and it is very obvious that Andropinus has begun this descent into self-experimentation with the device and the notes that he has been given. That action is complete. Now for your other action. Who would like to take the roll?
What's our other action?
Discussion.
Figure out how much time you have
Yeah, that's
left.
right.
Well, they're still sitting on the inspiration, Jared.
Oh, I made one roll already. I don't want to make a second. That one up. No, that's what I'll have.
I suppose I can roll it. I'm the one whose reinforcements are 3 weeks out. What am I adding, John? Still 8?
Give me another +8.
That's a 10, so 18 altogether.
That would not have been a success if it had not been for your -2 to all DCs.
Woo!
Woo! Right on.
Your scouts report that with current troop movements being what they are, the forces of the majority of the Sorcerer Kings of the Wasteland will reach the gates of Balak in 6 weeks' time. In 6
Should we
weeks,
take a
they will be
vacation?
at your doorstep. Reports also say that it is not a meager force. It is a force of at least, we'll say, 50,000 troops coming to your city.
So before then.
Yeah, so before then would be a good time. All right, and then as your 2 actions, your scrying device in, I'm gonna say your scrying device in Enterprinus' chambers allows you to know exactly what attacks he'd be coming at you, and you just nullify them. He says, well, he has an agent stand outside of his door, or no, he polymorphs himself into a humanoid form, and you see Duraxis come in, and a few other bureaucrats come in, and he says, the people of Balak are becoming more complacent. Crack down on trade. I don't want any outside agents sneaking anything inside. So that you know to maybe adjust your trade routes so that you can get your secret contraband inside the city easier. That being said, we go to the next week. So we're on week, well, let's say 1 of 6, because you only have 6 left. So 1 of 6, starting back at the top. Minor. Your forces are on their way. Do you have any additional force you would like to try to contact to maybe make up a 4th, like an elite unit? If you're still there.
I'm just thinking, trying to think back of everything we've done. The only thing recent memory would be the frogs and the others.
The bullywug.
The mongrel men and the bullywugs?
Oh yeah.
Mongrel men? I don't yeah.
Or I'm sorry, they were the Gith.
The gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the original names in the original. Okay.
Didn't Jesse have some gith or something? Or no, am I thinking something else?
No, Jesse had imbued a sort of a imprint on the Sky Serpent, and then he made the deal with the Yanti, but none of you know.
Oh, Yanti, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, man, it's only things I can think of off the top of my head. It's mostly been just cooking stuff and eating stuff, so...
I mean, there is a warlord of Gith there that could send out, some of his forces. And then like the bullywugs have healing magic that's pretty rare on Athos.
But yeah, I guess I could reach out to them because, like I said, I can't think of anyone else to make that we've had contact with that I would have any kind of sway with. The halfling voice on that lift thing or whatever isn't going to come and help. So
Yeah, just bring the computer from the lift and fucking Guisnall. I can show them the history of our people. Do you want me to do that?
plant it in Andrew Pinus's chambers and drive him crazy. Shut up! Shut up!
I was there. I know what happened. Okay. Go ahead and give me. We'll make this an operations roll. You're gonna have to send some kind of deep into the jungles to get this word to them. So go ahead and give me a +9.
+9.
Yep.
Oh, there's a nat 20.
All right. I say I'll just have Rune. She just takes her bee and just flies out, comes back at the end of the week, and she has in her hand a small token. You recognize it as the club of the leader of the Gith, and a small note that says, "We will be there upon the appointed day." With it, because she says that we have 6 weeks to get here. He says, I will be there before then." So you now have a Gith. Let's just call them elite soldiers. Elite soldiers.
And as far as the rankings of my units from the last time you were asking,
Yeah.
I think I'll make the top ones my Aarakocra.
Okay.
The second, the melee or the infantry halflings, and the last the artillery halflings.
Okay. So you want your artillery to become the weakest of your focus.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but
That's fine.
I think the other two are going to be more dangerous jobs. So.
That just means there's going to be more of them. They're just not going to be as powerful. So, you know what I mean? Because like we'll have more rank 1s than we'll have rank 2s, rank 3s.
Right.
Okay. And so far as your weak action, what would you like to do?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is either prep more food, or if there's some way I can help train some of my units.
How would you want to train them?
Either in sharpshooting or stealth.
Okay. Those are actually 2 abilities from the book. I can give one of them too. So, we'll have this be another operations role. It is about working with the forces you have, working with your units, basically doing drills. So what do you want? Like a stealth ability, or do you want a like a marksman ability?
That's a good question. It's either stealth for.
And I mean, you can try for one this week and try for one next week. It's up to you.
Right. Let's try for stealth for my halfling infantry.
Okay. Go ahead and give me that roll.
Is it +9? You said.
Yep.
That's a natty 7, so it's a 16 altogether.
That is not going to be enough. But they've started training at least. So I mean, like, it's something you could try again next week.
I was gonna switch dice. I'm like, nah, this one's going hot.
The other thing too is that the Gith, it didn't really come up during gameplay with them, but they are psychic, so they do have some psionic abilities about them. So,
hey, I try not to look a Gith horse in the mouth. All right.
There you go. With that, we'll go to you, Jesse. What's like an elite unit you would like to try to train up to like your rank 4, like your biggest, heaviest hitter?
What are the current stats I have?
Well, out of your current people, your strongest that you focus right now is your casters, is your warlocks. Your second rank is your soldiers, like your just rank and file soldiers. And then your third, like your least powerful, but the most you're gonna probably have field a few of them, is gonna be your Yanti assassins.
Okay, so like
But
rank
if you-
4, my most elite, I want to be the drowned.
So do you want like a rank 4 elite? Like what's gonna be their role? Like melee caster? Like how would you want to define them?
Melee.
Melee. Okay. We'll say the time has come, and you've been training Jarek intensely for weeks, like to be like your champion if things go down. Go ahead and give me. We'll do an operations roll for this because it's working with your forces. Let's. Oh no, this isn't your weekly thing. This is just you training him. Never mind. So yours is going to be Jarek. And what would you define this unit as? The drowned.
Yeah.
Jarek's drowned elite
Taking it to Drown Town.
infantry. Okay. You give him the most training you can. Like you have seen sword fights and sword battles and like melee battle, and like you're adventuring off the past like century of like interdimensional travel, be it the way weird time has been affected you throughout the planes. He gets like the full benefit of that, and becomes a much more deadly, much more elite warrior. So he is your rank 4. So far as your weekly action, what would you like to do?
Jesse, may I make a suggestion?
Free country.
Try and sway some of the town's guard into seeing the way of the water.
That would kind of risk outing him, though, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's an idea. I didn't say
We don't
It
have
would
one
be
of
an
those
espionage
destruction
check,
orbs
and
again.
it would be a bit of a risk, but you could possibly switch some people's allegiance.
I don't want to do the town guard specifically, but I would like to kind of spread the influence of Al Hydra amongst the populace.
So maybe, like, what would you maybe like try to drum up another unit of like Templars for yourself?
That'd work.
Okay, I'll do. In this case, we'll do diplomacy. Go ahead and give me a D20. D20 plus 8.
I'm gonna use an inspiration.
Okay.
14.
14. Is that your total?
No, that's the roll.
Roll. Okay.
So plus
So-
8, 22.
22. You are able to kind of like, you see the descent kind of growing in the streets, and you are able to kind of contact Tigo and some of the other like people in your underworld connections, and are able to get some, let's say, like back alley converts, like people that are desperate, that are like kind of at the end of the rope and they need someplace to go. Kind of using some cult recruitment tactics, but you're able to drum up, I'll say, another rank 1, not like levy of artillery casters, but I'll say a fully trained. Within 6 weeks, they are at least like the level of caster that your people at Marsh Deep Keep are.
Okay.
So I'll add +1 rank 1 caster unit. Okay. Alrighty. Jeremy, you have a lot of ideas.
Full of them.
What would you try to make? What would you want your rank 4 champion or your rank 4 contribution be?
That would be my shamans, my giants.
Do you want like a specific, like you want to have like a level 3 giant and then a level 4 giant, or do you want to just promote your giants up to level 4?
Or is this bringing somebody up to level 4?
It'll be a little bit harder to get a new person in, I'll say, but if you want to try to maybe pour some resources into getting your level 3 person up to level 4, I'd allow that too for maybe a little bit easier of a roll.
What are we doing with Korra?
Korra is one of your she's an option. I mean, if not, she's just going to be among the rank 2 infantry.
Because I'd like to like utilize her as being able to be like a stand-in for me,
Okay.
so that I could possibly get more actions done in a week. If I can like use her to carry out some of my commands.
Okay, that could be your action for this week, is to try to have next week have 2 actions. But so far as your forces go, what would you want to, like, on the field? We're talking like putting stuff on the field. What would you want your focus to be on?
I guess I'm not clear on what you're asking.
Do you have any, like, so you have your giants are level, or your rank 3. They're your kind of your biggest focus right now in your army.
Yep.
Do you want to pour more resources into them and maybe just have more of your infantry filled at the rank 3 spot?
I'd actually like to get my infantry stronger.
So maybe put Korra in as your rank 3 infantry leader, and then your giants at your rank 4.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go ahead and do that. This is going to be another operations because it's going to have to do with your forces. Go ahead and give me a d20 per roll plus 9.
D20 plus 9. That is a 19. Total. 19 total.
Okay. With that, Korra is welcomed like back in to Balak's structure, like the structure of the Kanks Riders. A lot of them thinking she was dead. She kind of she's at first a little pensive on getting back into a leadership role, but after you kind of talk her into it throughout the week, she dives in and is getting a force trained up to be like an elite unit in your faction. I will say this will be your twofold action. So next week you'll be able to carry out 2 actions, and then now your giants have had more time to become a better force, and now Korra has filled that role as making an elite strike unit as your rank 3.
Cool.
Giant shamans. And they would be your siege. Okay. All right. Jarrett,
Okay.
out of all of your people and all of your connections and everybody that you know, everybody you could think of, anything that you have access to, if you wanted to maybe push the training up, or maybe ascend the power of one of your units up to a rank 4.
Now, is this for one unit?
Yep,
Or
this is going to be
one-
your one, like your big champion. Your
Okay.
big contribution to this force.
Can I use my week's action to train a new unit to be that level?
Sure.
I would like to plead with Athos itself and recruit Earth Elementals to buff our defense.
You want another big elemental,
Maybe
or like a squad of them.
like a squad of them, so they can like
Okay.
divide and defend. You know who needs it the most, while maybe
Okay.
we go around healing and doing what we're doing.
Give me a diplomacy plus 8, so it'll be d20 plus 8.
Okie doke. How about 21?
And do you want this to be your rank 4?
Yes.
All right. You actually, I'll say you travel. You leave Balak for about a week. You go back to the Black Spine Mountains. You talk to that avatar of Earth, like face to
Yes.
face.
Awesome.
You have a council with him, and you tell him of like the dire nature of what's going to happen, like a city of innocence that's kind of thriving right now. Bringing positive balance and change to Athos is at risk, and he musters whatever force he can, grants you, I'll say, 20, 30 like giant hulking, not like giant size, but large earth creatures that will act as like a large melee unit for you in this battle. And they sink into the earth, and then while you're traveling back, you see like a little Bugs Bunny mole trail like in the earth of like where they're following underneath you.
That's awesome.
And as they were kind of make their home near the shores of Athens, near the shores of Balak.
Awesome.
So, earth, elemental. You know what? We're gonna call them infantry, but we could tweak that if you'd like.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe not necessarily. I mean, if the opportunity arises, sure, attack, but more of a defensive, like form walls, sink structures if need to be that are pestful.
Infantry just means they're more focused on melee fighting.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Like they're not gonna be launching shit at people.
No, yeah, that's perfect. That's fine.
Okay. And so far as your weak action, while you're out and about, what would you like to try to get done?
Would that be my weak section or?
Oh yeah, because you were gone for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say that. Yeah, because you want to train a new unit.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
Micah.
Mm-hmm.
Same question I've asked all of your other allies. Out of all of the forces that you have access to, that you have trained up, what would you like to nominate as like your rank 4, like your big champion?
So far, my big units would probably be either Gildus or Medead, right?
Yes. Your father has not entered into the conflict yet, but I feel like he would be a good fit for
Yeah.
your rank 4.
Yeah, I'll probably have him be the rank 4.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a diplomacy. That'll be a +8 with advantage.
So that is you said +8?
Yes.
With advantage, it comes to 24.
You send a missive out. You have a regular line of like messengers that can stop by, like trusted allies that can stop by Sanctuary. Your missive goes out Monday, like, hey, we're in the middle of this fight. I know it's kind of an awkward question. You are probably just still getting over what happened in the city of Guisanol, but we could really use your help. By Friday, a traveler arrives at your estate, and it is your father in his like lesser dragonborn form. He has been, with the help of other shamans on Sanctuary, he has learned to kind of polymorph himself back into his old form.
Oh, yeah.
And he shows up and says, "I am with you 100%. I can go back to my other form at will with the help, the training I have received. And I would be more than happy to help you overthrow and prevent the same thing that happened here that happened at Guisanol. I don't want to see a repeat of that." So Micah. I believe your father was a blue dragon?
I think so, yeah.
Blue dragon aerial unit. Okay. I'll say that was kind of everybody's week 4 or like week 1 action. Because there was a lot of involvement to try to figure out like what your force is going to be from inside.
I realized I somehow spent a week trying to train forces that aren't even here yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it failed.
It's a lot of Zoom calls. A lot of Zoom
A
calls.
lot of Zoom calls. Okay. It is the end of the week. It is time for the intrigue action for this week. As your council meets, you realize that the bulk of your forces, if not all of them, will be in the immediate area at the end of next week. So the end of next week's action, you will have the ability to launch the rebellion if you would like. You still have a few weeks left to work with, to take actions, but by the end of next week's action, you will have the ability to kick off the revolution.
Will it be televised, John?
It'll be on radio. Athos is
Okay.
empty weeks.
Yeah.
It'll
It will
be
be
on
broadcast.
it'll be the site of one of Athos's moons.
Yes.
well, Aerosmith will be happy then, because they said the revolution will be.
Aerosmith will be
broadcast.
there.
Wasn't that Rage Against the Machine? Or am I,
I'm
am
not
I, or am I smoking
No.
penis? I can't
I
remember.
mean, maybe. I was making a reference to the arcade game that Aerosmith
Revolution
had.
X.
Yeah.
Music is the weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Music
was.
is-
I'm pretty sure it was Aerosmith. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you guys have a few more options here. So I would say you're +2 to defense now that you've nullified everything that Andropinus is going to try to throw at you with that scrying device. I'll say that one probably isn't as important. You could try to boost some of your other stats to try to make the next few actions easier. You could still try to. The big one is, now that you know that they're 6 weeks out, would be appeal to the Sorcerer King's to spare Balak, because that would remove that time frame, or at least adjust it.
What if we go with the DC lower this week and then next week try that?
Can we stack the DC lowers, John? Or
That is a thing I specifically added in. So yes.
Okay.
The
Good
thing is that the locals to support the cause, that's a one-time use. But your ongoing -2, because it was harder to do, that's a floating buff.
So we could get the -4, but not higher.
Yes.
Okay, or lower in this case. Okay.
Correct.
I want to propose an idea to the council, if this is even like a thing we can do or not, because I know that the thing is appeal the Sorcerer Kings to spare Balak, right?
That might come with terms that you realize.
Right. So what I was thinking or proposing is that we don't necessarily ask them, well, I guess it would be asking them to spare Balak, but basically convincing them that Andropinus and his Order of Templars are the ones ruining Balak. It's not the citizenry of Balak. Basically, that they've suffered enough in that they can definitely help us kill Andropinus if they want to, but it doesn't need to be like an all-out war, you know?
What?
Because like we will handle the war if they just want to help us kill Andropinus.
Yeah.
You know, not just level the city is basically what
So
I'm
like a
getting.
half measure, like appeal to just like, hey, maybe not destroy the city.
Right.
Would it be an easier DC to say, hey, can you like delay your invasion of Balak? Maybe.
I mean, I feel like that's a thing you could say, like, hey, we're actually on your guys' side. But hey, I mean, it's up to you guys. Like, the council mulls it over and thinks it's a good idea to at least ask.
Personally,
There's
I'm
no
not
harm
too
in asking.
worried. Personally, I'm not too worried about the Sorcerer Kings. I may have a plan for that, should it come to it.
What is said plan?
And
I do not feel comfortable revealing it at said time because
Of course.
the rest of
Because
you may not want to let me do it.
yeah, exactly.
see,
So,
at least
I'm
I
going
air
to
out my
pull one of the
ideas.
goons into the
Right.
surface of the planet.
so we're just gonna Jesse's gonna redact his previous statement because if he wanted to keep it hidden, he wouldn't have said anything, even in the slightest.
He had his
I-
fingers crossed behind his back.
I'm just saying, if there's something else we want to focus on, I am all for that.
I bet you are.
Do you want to wash Balak off the map? I'm not hearing an objection.
I have this thing called the black materia. Just hear me But I mean, hey, it's a council, guys. It's up to you.
I
I
mean,
mean, I voiced my thing.
yeah, I think appealing to the Sorcerer Kings is great. I just think we should either lower the DC by doing the other diplomacy action or by, whatever ideas you guys have. Like Jeremy was throwing kind of out there too. But that does sound smart. Like, kind of, wax a little, where are you guys on this if we do this?
Right. Like clearly they've demonstrated that they can get to Andrew Pinus face to face without having to fucking nuke the town to do it. I mean,
Yes.
that's what they did last time.
Well, it was just Alabak Ray, and she's
Mhm.
kind of the sneakiest bitch of the whole the whole group. But yeah, but you are right. If one Sorcerer King can sneak in, more could.
Um. hmm.
What was the is Alabak Gray the one that was an Ogo or
She
No,
was the one
yeah.
who is. Let me double check my notes. I don't want to say wrong.
the
information.
City of Vines or whatever I'm thinking of?
No, that was Leila Lepue.
Okay, yeah.
She was more of the let's take nature by the throat and then make it work for us. That was kind of her
Ray or
deal.
Lalelule Pue.
Leila Lepue.
Lalelulelo.
Ali Lililo, yes. Let me look up here. Alabek Ray. She is the Grand Vizier of Ram. Her city state is a nasty brew of crime, murder, filth, and extreme need. Ram is the city. Let's go out to the big map for just a second.
Wasn't that weren't we in Rom and we didn't necessarily meet them?
No, you were in Nibene.
Nibene, that's what I was thinking.
And one of you met the weird half centipede, half human son of the Sorcerer King.
Mhm.
So if you shoot straight north of Balak, you see where I have Cromlin circled there? If you look at the red circle, I'm about to, or actually, I'll make a purple circle. Up here, that's Rom. That's where she's from. But Leila Lepue is on her way. The leader of Rom is on her way. Uruk is actually not on its way. Uruk and Tyr have had a whole thing lately. So you're pretty sure that the Lion of Uruk is not going to get involved. That's Hamanu. Let's see. However, the city of Draj, a bit further to the north of Rom, this guy here, he is also on his way. His name is Tektaktitle, and you know I'll say the council knows of him that he calls himself the Sun God. He's a literal god in mortal flesh. He is a very self-absorbed person, if you couldn't tell. Let's see. As priests tell it, the moons of Ral and Gothway gave the world their son, Tektaktitle, a god in mortal flesh. Oh, I'm sorry. He is the son of the moons. That is his title. He appears regularly atop his pyramid of the Father and Master Temple to see the eyes of his people upon him. And his moon priests patrol every street and field. So yes, he is on his way as well.
He's fucking Souther.
Yeah, he's pretty much Souther. But Nibane is also sending forces as well, so it's gonna be a whole big party of people. It's gonna suck.
So at least four Sorcerer
yeah.
Kings?
Yes.
Only one that we met?
Well, I mean, hey, Tyr's not getting involved, right?
Yeah, it's all about the bright side.
Yeah,
The
King
silver
Tinian
lining.
isn't sending any forces from Tyr, so I mean, like, hey, gotta look at it that way. But yeah, that's what you're kind of staring at right now. That's the forces coming down.
How's our lore looking?
Your lore is sitting at a +2.
Ooh,
Yeah, we
It's your
literally-
lowest stat.
yeah.
Literally avoided that the entire time.
You guys got some bonuses by recruiting some of Micah's like research people. Like you saved what's her name? The female that was working for the Dragoth. You didn't kill her, you
Verketh.
saved her. Huh?
Ver-
Verketh, yeah,
Verketh,
you
yeah.
saved. Yeah, you saved her, so she's adding to your lore operations.
So who wants to roll on the beg for sparing?
What's your idea?
All right. Any
I'd say
objections?
it's a green difficulty to try to get that -2 DC, but it's just a one-time thing. Maybe you want to try to do that first, just as a. I think Jared had a good idea there.
Get the +2 DC again, yeah.
I mean,
minus
it
2
helped
to
us
DC.
succeed last time we used it, so.
All right, I'll roll for it. The
Okay.
+2.
Yep. Or it's
15.
gonna be. Well, you're rolling at a +8.
I got a 15, so 23.
23. That is a big success. So, the council reaches out to its many, it reaches out to its many octopus arms of, influence, and you guys are able to basically make Balak back to normal for like a week's time with some of your resources. Like, the poor are not getting beaten to death in the streets by, mobs of anti-elementalist sentiment, rioters. The guards aren't like hauling people at the jail. Things calm down for a week in Balak. And with that, a lot of like patricians and a lot of elites throw their support behind your diplomatic causes. And your next DC will be lowered by 2.
So,
All right. So, getting back to the matter at hand, week 2 out of 6. This is at the end of this week. You guys are going to be able to trigger your operations. But starting at you, Minor, you have your rank 4, and you have everything here. This is gonna be. I'll just ask it now because then it'll be like, if you guys decided to kick it off, it'll be your whole thing. One of you is gonna make your rank 4 the rank 5. Like all of the operations resources is gonna go into it. My question for you, and this is not your weekly action, but this is my question: do you feel like you want to nominate your unit to be the rank 5?
Who's my rank 4?
Your rank 4 is the Gith Elite Infantry coming from the Lost City.
Oh, that's right. How many units is that?
Well, it's all just going to count as one piece on the board, essentially. But it's going to be your force's most powerful piece. I'll say if you make them your rank 5, their psychic abilities are going to get augmented. Their melee abilities being augmented, so you'll have one very strong I'll say like a unit killer, like a melee unit killer on the board.
That would probably be good for Templars, wouldn't it? If they're all good with psychic stuff.
I mean, it would be, but that would be like, like I said, like this is just like one of the 4 that you guys have put forth is gonna get that rank 5 spot. So I just want to ask, do you feel like you want to put yours up to the vote?
What
Yeah.
all options do we have for?
That's a fair question. I'll kind of go over everybody's. We'll do everybody's week, like their faction thing at this point. So your rank 4 choices are a Gith Elite Infantry unit, Jarek's Drown Elite Infantry. So Jesse's unit is going to be more, I'll say more caster and more. Also, I'll give them a ranged component because they are kind of built of both ranged cult casters and melee units. I'll give the Gith more of a floating debuff, if anything, that they fight in combat, because their psychic powers will be able to influence their enemies. Jeremy, your unit is the Giant Shaman's siege unit. We're talking an army of giants in the city walls, which would be very effective. Now, they would be really effective against those red targets, and you have to take out at least 10 in order to get your victory condition. That is a thing. Now, you would not maybe be able to field as many giants, but they would be more effective, I'll say. If that was your rank 5, I'll say instead of having like 2 groups of 4, you'll have like 1 group of 2 that is just like elite shaman like elders in the city. That would be yours. Jared is Earth Elemental Infantry. I will say your Earth Elemental Infantry would radiate a buff of protection around them, being able to kind of like utilize their earth changing abilities to make fortification structures, protect allies, and more or less deny attacks to like let's say adjacent units.
Okay.
And then lastly is rank 5. That would be Micah's father, the Blue Dragon aerial unit. He would have more of a siege capability on top of being a flying artillery unit. He would be able to utilize his lightning breath to effectively attack like a swath, like I'll give him like an area of effect attack with his breath weapon. So he'd be like more of a multi-attack unit than just a flying around, I can ping one thing at a time unit. That is the options. So Minor is a melee with a melee debuff for enemies. Jesse is a kind of a melee and ranged unit mix. Jeremy is a anti-structure machine That would work good against gates too, because those would be considered structures.
I like the sound of that.
Jared's unit would be at a melee buff unit, and then Micah's unit would be basically highly mobile multi-attack unit.
My unit is a melee buff unit. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought you said Jared's would be protection.
Yeah, it's gonna be buffing the things around him. Yes, so if you have units next to Jared's unit, they're gonna be harder to hit.
I mean, they're all pretty good.
Does anyone feel like their rank 4 is like a better choice than anybody else's for the rank 5?
I mean, being the fact that we need to take over the guard outposts, and my units are the ones that would probably be the most best at it, I would nominate mine just to give us that extra little bit of.
I will say the drawback
Likelihood.
though, Jeremy, is that it's going to reduce their numbers from from 2 to 1.
Okay. Yeah,
I would say
I
mine would
I rather have
probably be the
two.
most balanced.
I would rather have 2 than 1.
I mean,
Like, Jeremy's would be good, but I think the effectiveness of giants in this instance would be numbers.
and then like
Yeah.
being able to debuff adjacent enemies would be cool, but Jared's, Earth Elementals being able to buff and protect some of our units is not bad. Or even the aerial bombardment from Micah's.
I mean, if
I
it
like
came-
the aerial bombardment thing, but I feel like we already, between like you guys, we already have a lot of aerial stuff, so I don't know how much more effective it would be.
Well, it's the only reason it's effective is because it can attack multiple things at once. Because it does area damage.
It would do a cone essentially.
Yeah.
So it would just depend on how we position
Positioned it, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And because it's flying, it could get over those walls without having to worry about moving through gates.
Well, and if we went with Aaron's or mine, Jeremy, we could have those units go with the giants and buff as well. We just have to be a little centrally located, I suppose. But they're all good options, really.
I would say the most useful would either be mine or Micah's.
Yeah, and John, you did say that it would kind of turn it into like a one-hit kill for like a Templar unit.
What do you mean?
Like if we upgraded it to a level 5.
Upgrade.
Upgrade what to level 5? Like, who's are you talking about?
A unit.
Jesse or Micah's to
Oh.
level 5, it would like turn it into like a one-hit kill.
It would be a very
assassination.
powerful offensive unit, yes.
I think that would be useful. Even if we only had one of them.
Well, let's think of it this way. If we buff Micah's dad, that might piss Antropinus off more, seeing as how he's getting even more dragony,
That
and
would
maybe
be pull-
provoke him somehow into attacking early or stupidly or something.
That would be extra juicy.
I go with that. Screw it. I like my Earth Elementals if anybody else was, but barring that, I think Micah's dad would probably provoke Andropinus as well.
Right, so I have 2 votes for Dragon.
I think mine is the better option because it's more versatile. Whereas to get the maximum effect of Micah's is more situational.
How is yours more versatile, Jesse?
Because it would give a unit of primarily melee combatants stronger melee capability, but also some range capability too.
I think that's like jack of all trading it and not specializing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but how effective is a dragon going to be in close quarters combat? Like
Well, his
inside,
area unit can attack
inside of
melee
a
units too.
structure.
Well, it's the only thing his thing would not be able to attack effectively would be structures.
Would not be able to attack structures effectively.
It can attack any unit can attack a structure. It's just not going
Right.
to do it as effectively as a siege unit, which is what Jeremy has. Jeremy's giants are a big siege unit.
But it's also mobility too.
Yes, your dragon dad. Your dragon dad would be able to fly over those zone lines without having to go through gates. So, because normally you see the little rectangles on the map, your melee units have to pass through that area to get to the next area. Like, so they're essentially choke points.
There's pluses and minuses to both of them, really.
Oh yeah.
That's why this is going to be this week's whole decision for the forces. It's going to be kind of the council coming together to nominate what they're going to throw the most resources at.
And here I'm picturing my Aarakocra as kind of like paratroopers being able to come in behind a gate to confuse, distract, and disrupt.
Well, I mean, they
Letting
can. They're going to
soldiers
be rank
there.
3. That's rank 3 is like effective. It's just
Right, and
not
then
the one
and
giant.
then everyone else has maybe an easier time. The infantry has an easier time getting through the gate. So maybe having a higher ranked dragon to help with that too. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards dragon too. But Jesse's is good too, but I don't know. I'm leaning dragon.
I mean, like Jesse's stuff is still rank 4. The rank 5 would just give him ranged ability. Like that would his melee prowess isn't gonna change. It's gonna add that. And then
And
essentially, but the big thing between Jesse's and Micah's is that Jesse's buff is gonna add ranged attacks, but then Micah's buff is gonna essentially boost the already ranged attack that's there to target multiple targets.
I feel with adding a range attack to Jesse's is a little like redundant. Like I feel we're pretty flush with
Oh,
range attacks.
oh, there's the pun. Flushed. I was gonna say watered down, but
Eh. Oh no, we're the opposite of watered down. We're pretty fucking what you call it? Words hard. Brain stop working.
torrential. I don't know.
Okay.
Pretty concentrated.
So I'm getting dragon as the most votes for the rank 5, which is, like I said, it's not a giant jump. It's not like we're fucking over anybody. It's just they're getting one bonus power.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna call. The council's gonna take the vote. Bang the gavel. We're gonna say that the rank 5 is gonna be the dragon unit. It's also gonna be, if the rank 5 gets taken down, it's gonna be worth a lot of points to the enemy. So just keep that in mind with that unit as well. So that'll be this week's kind of just unit decision. Now we'll go back to each person. So Minor, for this week, what do you want your week's action to be?
So who is how they like? What class of citizens are more likely to want Andropinus overthrown or to rebel against him?
Most likely the low-level citizenry, because they're feeling the most oppressed by this kind of chokehold he's putting on what he sees as like outsiders coming in and corrupting his city.
Is there I'm thinking Snafu can go around and help train some of these people in like maybe archery, just to like, hey, here's ways you can help defend yourself, kind of thing, or make them feel a little better about the coming troubles.
So how about, because you can pull levy forces essentially, I will give, if you want to do this, the levies can either be melee or ranged. That would add an option to their capabilities, because right now they're just melee units.
Well, I'd definitely add some range, because that's what I'm better at, so I can train
Okay.
better that way.
Well, let's do that then. So, go ahead and give me an operations roll. It's going to be +9.
Fucking 3, so an 11.
I'll say you can do 2. You can train up to 2 levy units as ranged units, but like, it doesn't have. It'll be just a thing you can spend essentially. Like if you want to crank out a levy unit, at the last minute, be like, hey, we need more help. You can pull a ranged levy unit out of the kind of the citizenry to help you.
Alrighty.
Two ranged levy units.
Oh, good, you're writing that down. I was just trying to figure out where the hell I was going to write it.
Oh, I have a whole fucking thing of notes right now in front of me. Because if we were gonna meet in person tonight, I was gonna be writing down all the unit names with those character sheets I made. I will just be doing that, essentially on my off time this week then. So okay, all right. So that was Myers' weekly action. Jesse, what would you want your weekly action to be? I'll say if you still want to give your unit a ranged attack, that would be a thing you could do. It would just be on a cooldown.
I want to focus more on my casters now.
Your casters, okay. What would you like to do for your casters?
Actually, what was his name? The dude living in my house.
Oriol?
Yeah. I want to see if there's anything he could do for me.
Insofar as what? Do you want me to come up with something, or do you want to try to steer him in a direction?
So far as him trying to get other nobles to front money to pay some of Andropinus's mercenaries to switch sides.
Okay, that's something I could definitely do.
And if it's relevant, I don't care if it's necessarily here or in the place with the bridge where we convinced him to send people.
Okay. Well, I mean, those units are already taken out of his equation. Like, I
Okay.
went ahead. He's gonna have some reduced units at the start of the battle. Because Andropinus is gonna have ranks of units as well. But you guys have been slowly fucking with them throughout this whole process. With that, if you want to try to snake a unit from him, it's going to be a diplomacy, and the difficulty is going to be the rank that you want to try to get. Rank 1 through rank 4.
Aim for a 3.
3? Okay. Go ahead and give me a d20 roll, and you're going to add a +8.
I got a 15 total.
I will say that he's not able to convince a rank 3, but he can get a rank 2.
Alright, I'll take it.
Okay. Pull a rank 2 unit of mercs to rebels. Okay. So you will have, what will happen is I will deploy a unit in battle when we kind of set the board next week when we do this revolution. And then you will take one of those rank 2 units, Jesse, and they will be under your additional control.
Okay.
And that'll be like anywhere on the board. So it just depends on where I put the rank 2s, but it's gonna be up to you essentially what quadrant you want them in. Okay. Jeremy.
Have we, as a group, decided when we want to spring the revolution? Are we waiting until the last minute, or are we going to try and pop this off early?
I would think at least a week or a few days ahead of the reinforcements, because who knows how long the battle itself could take.
I
Okay,
think we
so-
were waiting to see until after, because we didn't say when, but I think we were kind of just gonna wait and see how diplomacy went.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm thinking about starting to have the King Striders set up barricades to block the movements of any forces, any Balak forces inside the city.
Okay. That could be a thing that would be deployable like, when it happens. Because I mean if you deploy barricades preemptively beforehand, he could just have his soldiers tear them down.
Well, so I was gonna talk to what's his face, Decatus or whatever, and
Axis.
Draxus, and
Draxus, yeah.
just be like, hey, this is to make him think that this is to make choke points for the enemy. When
Okay.
in reality, it's making choke points against him.
Oh, I mean,
So-
okay. That's
See, I'm
definitely a thing
playing-
you could try.
I'm playing both sides of the
Um,
fields. That way, I come out on top.
I'll tell you what. It'll be another degree of success type of test. And if we'll say by every 5 you get will be 1 square you can essentially block off. And that'll be an espionage check.
Espionage. I'm gonna try a different dice because that wasn't rolling too hot. All right, let's try it again. I was using my left hand too. That's a 12 plus whatever my bonus is.
So 8. That is 4 squares
Ooh.
on the board that you will be able to. What I'm going to do is I'll put a black square there, and that'll essentially be an impassable area.
The square between.
Actually, can you draw? Do you have the option to draw on the board?
Let me
Draw
check it.
shape?
See. Draw a shape. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or even
Just put a black
freehand or whatever.
square on the squares that you want to block off. You have 4.
4. I'm gonna block off that square.
Okay, that's a whole gate. You want to block off that whole gate.
Yes.
Okay.
Um.
Well, that does mean that his forces won't be able to descend into
the city.
the city, so that is a 2-way street.
Yes. So, I'm gonna leave the east gate to the blue open.
You piss off so many fucking nobles. Now they have to take the long way around.
I think it would make them happier because I'm gonna assume the purple side is like the middle class.
It's the mercantile, yeah. It's like the.
So
yeah.
it's really just like putting up a wall between them and the poors.
That's true. That's true.
Where else do I want to block? What's that
I had a lot of plans for that point too.
What's
It's
that? What's
funny.
that location F, John?
Location F.
East
Yeah,
of the
it's
green.
Just east of the green.
Oh, that's not only a Templar marketplace, or a Templar guard tower. I believe that. Let me see my notes here. We're talking like 2 years worth of notes, guys.
Oh, don't worry about it, man.
It's all
You
good.
are
Just give me a
literally
second.
juggling the entire campaign on a focus point here.
Actually, I know which other three I'm gonna block off, and this is probably gonna irritate you, John.
That's fine.
I'm gonna do that square, this square, and this square. Because really the win condition is I need to control the majority of Balak, right?
Correct. So you had to take out 10 spots.
So my idea is to basically, yeah, sure, they can have purple and blue. That's fine. I'll take orange.
Well, are there 10 spots in orange?
10 spots. 1, 2.
You have to control 2/3. That's
1,
10.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8. There's 8 in orange.
Agent Orange.
Agent orange.
That would
I mean,
probably
but,
do it
I
too.
mean, you do have flying units though too. So I mean that is a thing.
It's true.
So
Yeah. Yep. that's-
E is the Villa Precinct. I think F was. I think it was a specific person's house.
Oh.
But
Where's
that's okay.
where's the Kank Strider's location?
That's G.
G.
You're
okay.
right by the docks.
I have an idea for that one by next week.
And then C is just the big open marketplace.
Yep. The bazaar. The bazaar.
The bazaar, yes.
Speaking of C, do we have? That's like the quicksandy sort of stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
What about?
Yeah, that's the bay. Yeah.
Okay. So, do we know anybody that might help us with, quote unquote, like a small naval force?
That could be a thing you could do.
I did want to talk to Takitis about what Balak has as far as naval support.
I mean, that'd be another week's action. Or if you want to bring it to the council, if it's a big operation, you could bring it to the council.
That'd be like a good pincer attack with Jeremy set up.
Yeah. But yeah, that on the at the end of the week, these 4 areas are under they'll say heavy guard. So if it's official Balak business, they will be let through. So like if a noble has to get through purple or blue, they'll be let through, but like unnecessary travel is completely locked down.
It's for the safety of the nobles. It's for
Yes.
their safety to prevent any spies or whatever.
Yes. Quote unquote. Okay, Jeremy, that is your weekly action. Jared.
Okay. First big question: where is the siege breaker, and are we utilizing that for this battle?
The Siegebreaker is outside of the city. I will say it can be utilized inside the city. It's gonna be pretty fun to see what happens, but I will allow it. I will allow the Siegebreaker to be inside the city.
Jeremy, I think you might have
It's just
something
gonna have
to
to
do with that.
spawn at a gate spot. That's one of the 2 orange gate spots.
Okay. I mean, there are ballistas on it, last I recall.
Yep, it'll be a siege unit.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to, because in my brain, right, Andropinus is gonna break out of his castle as dragon form, and if we have something set up nearby, say at like location G, with a couple ballistas to fucking pew, pew, pew.
Pew pew, be ready on the draw.
Yeah.
What is this, Game of Thrones?
If it worked for
Ew.
those idiots, it'll
Hey.
work for us idiots.
we're gonna have a great season 8, so let's not compare us to that. All right. Second.
I say
point-
I have a deal with Disney, guys. I'm gonna let my brother DM for the last 2 sessions.
he
And
has
I'm
no
gonna go
idea what's going on, but
Star Wars
hey.
trilogy coming out, so
Second thing is, I guess kind of a question, but more just to maybe put a seed in his head about it. But Jesse, would it be? And again, you don't really have to reply if you don't want, but maybe if it's possible to maybe replicate that storm we had from before to inspire our troops and maybe intimidate or coerce others into our cause. Seems like that was a really big deal once. Maybe another really big deal if possible. But
Yeah, I got a plan for that.
Okay, cool. That answers that. And then, John, would it be possible to send maybe Talisier and whatever resources he thinks is necessary to put a search out for Knock? The
That'll
druid
be
from
a very
Ogo?
high DC, but it is possible.
Okay. For my week's action, though, I definitely want to do this. I don't know if sending him out would be the week action or not.
I want to say that would be more of a council action.
Okay.
Because that is sending him a very far away very quickly.
Okay, I'll shelve it for now then. That was kind of my lesser thing I wanted to do. My greater thing is I would like to train more healing units.
Okay, just basically replicate what you did before.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
I want to buff that up and really make sure we got our defense on lock.
Yeah.
If you want to find Knock, just look for some wood. He'll be on it.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. May I use an inspiration because I rolled horrendously?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's why I gave you a bunch.
Okay. I've been literally banking them the entire campaign. I think I used one up to this point, so.
Hey, man, that's why I gave them to you.
But anyways, I got an 18, which is a way better, more inspired roll.
Okay, plus we'll do that as a lore, so 18 plus
Plus what?
7,
Oh, I'm sorry.
25. Yeah, I'll say all of your level 1 units will have that healing ability. So
Gosh.
any level 1 unit that you field will have a healing ability. Basically, what you're able to do is replicate your healing spirit and then like divide, like essentially like TN multi-form it. So then
Awesome.
now a green healing fire spirit will be following behind your druids that you're sending out in the field.
All right, right on. That's exactly what I wanted. All right, that'll be my week's action.
Okay, very good. And then Micah.
Junior.
Junior. You are a junior, so. Okay, I'm gonna be right back for a sec. Go bathroom.
So, what are we figuring out?
What is your weak action going to be? Like, if there's anything else you want to try to accomplish, like with your forces, or just something to affect the board, or anything you like to try to get done. We're very, very loosey goosey about these weak actions. It's just like you could shoot for the moon. It's just going to be a high DC. So.
Well, this has been on my to-do list forever. I don't know if it's any more possible now, but could I find a way now that we're back in town to decurse Windvane and Tinderstrike for the upcoming battle?
Okay, that's definitely doable. It'll be a level of degrees. If you want to try to do both, it's gonna be a higher DC. If you hit a certain DC, it'll be only one or the other. But I'll say you can go to Meech, and he can assemble his Veiled Alliance contacts to try to decurse these items. That's definitely doable.
Okay.
So yeah, it would be a lore roll, so it'd be +7. And it'll be, like I said, it'll be a scalable DC. So if you roll like a nat 20, we're talking both. And if you roll something below, I'm not gonna say how the degree of how much, it'll be like maybe 1, or it could still be both if you roll relatively high. So it's up to you.
Okay.
Means John's gonna feel it out based on what you roll.
Yeah, like most of the rolls I've been doing with this loosey goosey portion of our game.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to learn to DM myself, you know.
Yes.
And you said it's plus how much?
It's gonna be a lore check because it's all about arcane secrets.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a +7
I got 16
total.
total.
I'll say for this week you can decurse 1 of the 2 items.
Okay. I guess I will decurse Wind Vein first.
Okay. You, Meech, and a few other people that are members of the Veiled Alliance go to a nearby mountaintop. And with some of the help from Jared and his druid spirits and whatnot, you're able to kind of find a spiritual high point for the wind. And using like a purification ritual and a dispel magic or a remove curse ritual on both of the items there, you're able to break Yansi Bin's hold on this ancient druid weapon and it kind of return it back to its purified state. So now you may use Wind Vein without the curse of, essentially whatever curse is tied to it.
Okay. So would I be able to, I guess, identify it now to figure out like what its abilities are?
Yeah. Let me pull up Princes of the Apocalypse.
Princes of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Princes of the Apocalypse. Here we are, born to be kings. It is in my modules folder. There we go. Princes of the Apocalypse. And what I'll do is I'll just take a screenshot and I'll post it in the Discord.
Okay.
Drown Iron. Good luck getting Iron Fang. That's in fucking space.
Space.
Space. Love it.
The one place untouched by our elementalism. Space.
Yes.
Okay. This is gonna be very clever paint work I'm doing here. And then we crop that and we paste this. And we undo because we fucked that up. Okay. Save. Wind Vein. You will probably not be able to use the Song of the Four Winds because you don't have an air node, unless you want to travel back to the Temple of Elemental Evil and try to make a Devastation Orb of Wind. But that's up to you.
I mean, with Jeremy being in the bathroom, he's got an air node there.
I bet it was a devastation orb for sure.
I might want to get that checked out.
There we go. Wind Vein. Bam. I have not included the curse because the curse has been broken. All right. That was everybody's weekly action. We then go to this week's faction action. The DC has been reduced by 2. So now the total DC for whatever you do is -4. Keep in mind that you now have access to your power die. So that's, excuse me, an extra D12 that you can add to this roll after the check is after you roll the d20, but before I tell you if it's a success or a failure.
Yeah, absolutely think we should appeal the Sorcerer Kings. That's just my vote.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, same. Not against it.
Okay. I think that's a pretty popular choice with everybody.
Yeah, let's go for it. Don't
Alright,
spare.
so whoever's gonna roll is gonna be adding a +8 for your diplomacy. It is going to be still a relatively high difficulty, but it's been reduced by 4. And it is going to be, you can add a d12 after you make the roll. Also, if you have inspiration, you can also spend inspiration to get the advantage on this roll. So
I vote Jesse because he's been the most diplomatic out of all of us.
I was gonna say Jesse's our diplomat, so.
Converting
This is the
everybody
one
to
person
the
that
water.
didn't want to do this idea.
Oh, that's right.
Well, that makes it even better.
That's even funnier.
What do you suggest, Jesse?
Actually, I'll talk to him.
Convert them to the way of water.
Maybe not that, but I think I might have something.
Oh, I don't think this was about who was going to talk to them. It's about who's making the roll.
Oh. Well, what are we talking to him for?
We had to make the check to talk to them.
this is essentially the faction as a whole making a decision. I think it's just they want. Nobody wants to be the guy that drops the ball. So, yeah. If you would like to send out a message, Jesse, to the Sorcerer Kings, that's definitely something you could do with a weekly action.
Okay.
But
We just want you to be responsible if we fail.
That's fine.
so I'm not here to inhibit any storytelling or gameplay options. I just want to make it perfectly clear that this is a role for the faction.
Okay, so what am I rolling?
A d20, and you're going to add 8. If you roll poorly, you can add your power die, which is a d12, and I will tell you if you. It's going to be before I tell you if you succeed or fail. But I mean, if you roll a 1, you're going to realize that you failed.
I rolled a 13.
13
Plus 8, so
plus 8.
21.
Okay. I will say that is still not a success. Would you like to use your power dice?
America?
It's a d12.
Yeah, run and gun. I say go for it. But
This one's kind of important. I would use it.
yeah.
Okay, rolling a d12. Got a 9.
So that's a 9.
Brings us to a 30.
30. The rebellion spends a week drafting a letter. And after a week's time of revisions and revisions and revisions, you make 5 copies, or 4 copies, excuse me, because it's 4 Sorcerer Kings coming into your town. And you send them out with runners, neutral, like trade guild runners. And it says that you will take care of the problem. You realize that it is a problem, and you realize that Betlic needs to be saved from the whims of its Sorcerer King. And if they give you but time, you will take care of the problem. And the letter goes out. I'll say at the beginning of the week you receive a few messages back. I'll say TikTok Titley sends regards. He gives you thinks that he can pull his forces back because the longest of his trips is for him. However, if he is summoned by his fellows, he will show up at, basically says he will bring his doom to Balak, blah blah blah. He's not coming. Alabak Ray says that she finds it delightful that Balak's own saviors are going to be the ones to usurp its Sorcerer King. She says she doesn't care as long as nobody gets the power of the dragon. She's fine. She just doesn't want their balance to be upset. So she pulls her forces back as well. Leila Pue, I'll say her letter was more of a, hey, we're allies, don't fuck with us. And she was like, I see that, and if you can take care of your own business, that works for me. If I hear anything of any sort of dragon research happening again, we're gonna show up.
Dragging my nuts across you.
Dragging my nuts across your face. And then Nibane only sends a message that says, I have heard your missive. I will watch with the eyes I have in place, and you feel free to take your actions. And it's very, very succinct. It's like 4 sentences. You have successfully, at least for a time, saved the city of Balak from the destruction of the Sorcerer Kings.
Woo!
So I will remove the timeline limit. But however, I will say the longer you go on, the more chances that, Andropinus will have to kind of adjust. So, and grow stronger.
Oh, I almost guarantee they're still coming.
So that being said,
That's what I would do. You are them.
This is the week that all of your forces arrive. So, Jesse, a lot of your troops come from Mercy Keep. The Yanti show up in most of them in human form. They say that their allies are outside the city walls and the surrounding deserts and canyons and the hunting grounds, ready for word. Same thing with you, Minor. A glut of halflings show up at the Malagaz estate.
Do they sneak into the city by stacking up on each other's shoulders wearing trench coats?
Yeah, a bunch of coats. A lot of them.
A lot of trench coats, boys.
A lot of them are just show up in town essentially, because they're so stealthy and able to sneak over the city walls. A lot of them, a bunch of halflings, just kind of show up.
When you're walking through town, you just, as the weeks and days go by, you start to realize there's more halflings about. Where are they coming from?
It's not anything super noticeable at first, but it's definitely a big uptick in the halfling population.
Definitely keep your purse a little closer to your body.
Jeremy, for you, the giants make camp kind of in the canyons outside of the city walls. They're staying out of sight, but enough that they can be, summoned relatively quickly. 6 giant shamans have shown up, and they are told that they are being paid to not only destroy some Balak, because everybody kind of hates Balak right now. It's the unpopular. They're kind of making waves everywhere that doesn't need to be waves. They're ready to affect some change, and a lot of your scouts from the Kickstarters are also fully trained, ready to go. Jared, with you, your elementals arrive. Wambus and Bambus show up in town. They're having the fucking time of their lives for a couple days. They're drinking in all the new bars, eating in all the new restaurants.
It comes in pints.
I'm getting one. They also bring a cadre of a lot of your other druid friends with them. It's a bit of a chore keeping them hidden from the Templars, but it's only for a week, and it's not impossible, but it is very very entertaining.
I like
The elves also show up alongside with Argus, and Cora have a long kind of catching up session. The two old NPC allies of this group kind of reunited after a long time. And then Micah, your forces, you see Gildas kind of just show up in the middle of the night with like riding a wyvern. And he says that a lot of the forces that he has are parked along the coast, and he can summon them in a day's time to get them ready for this attack.
Okay. Would he get any kind of bonus if I gave him this dragon bone plate mail?
I'd say yeah. I can give him a bonus. There's armor increases I can do.
Okay, just because I'm not doing anything with it, and it's just sitting in my inventory, so.
Okay. So I guess I'll ask you first, Minor, if there's any weekly action you would like to take.
Oh, I might try that training thing again.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's try the training of stealth again for my halfling infantry.
Okay. That's gonna be operations, so it's gonna be a +9.
Oh, another nat 20!
Nice.
Lamadai is on fire tonight.
I will say all of your halfling infantry units are stealthy.
Oh, you're supposed to not crunch the leaves when you walk. Son of a gun, who knew?
Well, they're more used to like fighting in the jungles. They don't know urban combat.
Yeah.
But now that they've seen the city and they're hearing it, they're like, oh, I get it.
They've
Okay.
absorbed
Think
it
of it as a
all.
giant tree without leaves.
I like to think the halflings are kind of like Brock and Sindri from God of War, where they can travel anywhere. They just have to walk behind something like Bugs Bunny behind a tree or something. And then they appear elsewhere.
Okay. All right.
I have an image of like the Aarakocra kind of watching in too and just kind of shaking her head. This is not our way. Like, all right, well, do what you do.
This is just flying in canyons, floating spirits of things. This is not our way.
Not the way.
Jesse.
Present.
What would you like to take as a weekly action?
What week are we on left, anyways? Just so.
This is week 4 of what used to be 6.
Okay. Oh, used to be. Okay, yeah.
I want to go through channels and communicate with what's her name that was rallying the Sorcerer Kings against Valak.
Alabakrai?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you like to say?
I want to know what her plan was. Like, obviously, come in, siege the city, destroy Anthropinus, but what was supposed to come after that?
Okay. Give me diplomacy. It's gonna be +8.
I got a 14.
I'll see with a 14. About halfway, you send another letter out, like the same day you send out that other letter. She sends another missive to you. She kind of basically throws her weight around a lot. Says like, why would I, whatever. But she does say, if I were to destroy Balak, and if I were to go through with this plan, I would take whatever research that Simpleton and Drapinus had, and I would add it to my arsenal of arcane knowledge. So maybe she would have taken the secrets for herself.
She was OJing it. If I did it.
Yeah, if I did it.
Well, so I almost guarantee at least she is still coming then.
Could be.
I mean, that's what I would do. Clearly, she's admitting that knowledge was her overall goal, not trying to keep, fucking balance on Athos. So I almost guarantee Sheen that maybe all or at least a portion of the others are still on their way. Because we just showed our hand and admitted to them that we're planning a rebellion and to just give us time. So realistically, what I would do was I would tell them, okay, you get this extension, or okay, we'll leave it up to you, but I'd still come anyway, because best case scenario, this rebellion, if they succeed, it's just easier for me to take over the city. If they fail, it weakens my enemy for my battle.
I mean, that's definitely an option. With the 14, or with your result, I will say that you're gonna have to come up with your own conclusions on that one. I wouldn't give you like an insight style check.
Oh no, I fully don't think she would admit it.
So that is your result for that week's action. You spend the rest of the week kind of mulling over this in your head. Okay. Jeremy,
Yes.
weekly action. What would you like to do?
I want to talk to. I keep messaging his name with Dracox or whatever the fuck his name is.
Duraxis. Like I'm stupid. Like Dur. Axis, like the axis of evil. Duraxis.
Teraptus.
Not
I wanna
Teraptus.
I
We're
want to
not gonna
gain.
nail Teraptus.
I want to gain some more insight about what his plans for the city are as far as defense.
Okay.
Because well, first, I'm going to assume that he is not aware that the other Sorcerer Kings kind of called off their attack.
It's a pretty good assumption.
So I'm playing it as if the city's going to be under siege.
Okay.
So I want to know what his
What's your name?
what his plan for the siege of Balak is going to be.
Okay. Give me a espionage.
Espionage.
It's +8.
That's a nat 18.
Duraxis kind of puffs himself up. Well, now you want to know my plan. Fine, I shall share it with you. My plan will be to completely lock down the city's gates in an emergency. Of course, the palace itself will be the hardest to attack. It sits upon the center plateau of our city. My focus will be primarily in the nobility section, with a battle on 2 fronts, but as the only way to access the green area. My plan would be to concentrate the bulk of our forces in that crux point. There are a lot of open targets out in the city, but we have ways of attacking forces in the low city.
I had assumed you would focus your efforts there, which is why you've probably seen why I've installed barricades and checkpoints to
Yes.
assist with that.
I received the missive of your request and I approved it immediately.
However, what is your plan for the bay?
You got a natural 18, right?
Yes, before my add-on,
He leans in close, and
and
he,
I'll like bend down for him.
he says, "Well, if the Sorcerer Kings do attack the city itself, the people are more than already guaranteed to basically be dead. So I plan on having the Balak fleet launch any attack it might have to on the city from the bay. They would not be able to be reached by any sort of forces that the Sorcerer Kings might bring to attack the land. So a shore bombardment from a safe distance away is the easiest way to whittle down any forces that are foolish enough to attack our city."
Do you have ships in the bay?
He kind of laughs like, "This is Balak, dear boy. We always have ships in the bay."
Might I give you a suggestion to help with the defense?
This is gonna be what your success gets you. What are you telling him?
I am going to tell him to place a line of defense with the ships further out in the bay, and then to as a backup if they fall back when they land on it. If the enemy encroaches into the city, they'll have the docks will be sabotaged with like explosives or fire bombs or whatever to destroy them. But my next week plan is going to be to sabotage his sabotage, so that I control when the
Double sabotage.
Double sabotage.
so that I control when the explosives go off, not him.
Well, okay. Here's a couple things.
It's a 7-layer bean dip. It's kind of
Here's a couple of things, Jeremy. The only explosives that exist on Athos, the boom juice, is in the possession of the Balak army. And I mean, you have 10 Micah has about 10 barrels, but that's about it. So, I mean, you could set fire to the docks if you want. It's doable, but like rigging explosives is gonna be a bit much. We're talking like Mesopotamian level technology.
Because what I plan is when his naval fleet retreats back to the city and they're on the docks, I'll burn the docks with this naval fleet on there so they can't enter the city again. But I'm thinking because
the way he's structuring it, which you understand, is that he's basically he's gonna have some siege units.
Yep.
Parked in the bay, and no melee unit can get to them. Only if a ranged unit attacks from a distance will they be a threat. But you're saying, like, essentially, do you want him to move them out of effective range?
Yeah, I want them to be like further out so they can fall back if they need to.
Okay. I will say with that, I'll cut down on the number that he deploys in effective range.
Cool. I don't know why I do that, and I don't know how to get it.
Reduce bay ships. Okay. All right. Jared.
Okay. So maybe with a little bit of an assist from Kiliani, I kind of want to round out and see if I can summon water elementals to our aid. Is that possible?
Anything's possible. It's just making the DC. That's the thing.
Kiliani, is there anything you could do to assist me in this matter?
Not likely. Water's the weakest element on Athos, so drawing power from it would be minimal at best.
It's possible because there's cisterns here, but it's going to be very tough.
Could Al-Hydra possibly influence this?
Maybe.
If they were
I
willing.
mean, I have given her more of a presence in this world with what I did in Marsh Deep Keep that you weren't such a fan of.
Well, this is for the greater good right now, and any water to the planet right now would be a boon.
Let's
What I'm
call
gonna say, because there's not much that Jesse can really like approve of.
Okay.
If you want to do it, you can still make the check. Jesse, I'll say with his guidance, even just like his like advice, I'll give you like a +2 to the roll.
Okay.
But it'll be roll. It'll be lore. So we're gonna be talking a +9, whatever. Not D20 +9, and it's still gonna be a pretty high DC.
All right, let's do it. So +9.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to use my last inspiration. That was A 2. Wow. I rolled a nat 20 for that, believe it or not.
Okay, that's essentially what you needed. The echoes of whatever spirit of water are here are barely able to get through to you. They can't offer like a full unit.
Okay.
But what they can do is they can make a spot on the map, basically erupt into like a healing water,
Okay.
and it will be like one of your consumable heals. It will fully rejuvenate one unit that like uses it and consumes it.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Jared creates. I'll say that you can choose what spot it is, like during battle. So it's not gonna be like it has to be here.
Okay.
It'll
like
be just
yeah.
like a spirit. I need you to do it here, and then it does it.
Okay. Perfect.
Healing square on map. Okay. Micah. Weekly action.
Um. I turned my headset down. Hold on.
Do you want to try to like? Do you want to try to like disenchant the other weapon? Maybe. You do that.
Yeah, but if it's gonna be anything like Wind Vein, and I'm gonna have to be in a fire node in order to do anything with it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought they were gonna be more useful, like Drown is, but would I be able to? Would I be able to use the Mask of Disguise that we have, and then use it to basically just, you know, whether it's a guard or whoever I have to do, to try and look for that secret way into Andrew Pinus's,
Oh. Okay, so you want to try to attempt a
secret
weekly
pathway.
goal
Yeah,
in a solo fashion. Okay.
yeah. Discover the secret pathway into Balix's palace.
I'll allow it. With the use of that magical item, I'll let this go through. That's gonna be a lore test, but I will give you the +2 from using that disguise. So it'll be at a +9.
Do you want a Uki Cookie? Gives you
What's
10
that?
minutes of disguise self.
I mean, is that gonna do anything for the check, John?
I'll say it'll give you advantage. Why not?
Okay, sure.
Sweet, have an Uki Cookie. There's no weird spider legs sticking out of this, so it doesn't look nearly as bad.
I milled this one down a little more, right?
Okay, so go ahead and give it a roll.
Are the Uki cookies gluten free? Because I have a thing.
Oh God.
It's plus how much, John?
+9.
I got 19.
Ooh.
19 total.
19 total. That's not taking in any minuses or anything like that.
Right, I had to double check my chart here.
I'm just hoping that since it's the lowest lower, hopefully it's easy.
It is pretty easy, and that is a success.
Alright.
You disguise yourself as, I'll say, Diraxis. You hear so much about this guy from Jeremy. You met him once at a party or a fete, or whatever they call them, at like the ancient times. Kind of a douchebag.
Just make sure you piss your pants first, because he always smells like hot piss.
It smells like hot piss. You're able to walk around and say that you want to shore up the defenses, and then you bring up the secret, if there's any secret ways in, and what they reveal to you is that this orange box on D that I've kind of made by mistake, but it actually is there. That is actually a gate that leads directly into the green area. They say, oh yes, and Andropinus' secret pathway into the arena box is secure. And you're like, oh yeah, that. Why don't you show me how that works? And you see, as they lead you up into the arena while there's a practice during like the day's games, or like before the day's games, they lead you up to the royal box, and he pulls on a lever that's disguised as a sconce, and that opens up like a pulley. And when you pull that pulley, from the other side, a stone door starts to turn ajar, and it leads into a path that leads up and into the mountain.
Oh.
And you have now found the secret way to directly get into the palace to confront Entropinus.
Secret passage.
Sneaky.
Okay. With that comes the end of this week. I'm gonna ask first. Do you want to trigger the revolution this week, or do you want to wait? Because that's gonna be your action for this week, is triggering the revolution.
I don't really have anything much more planned, so
So go
Yeah, it's
hit
either got to be
something.
this week or next. You know.
it's really what other you guys have to do left.
I mean, I got something. It probably wouldn't help out a lot, but not worth it for an entire week if everybody else is ready.
Most I can think of for me is either prep more food or do more training.
The consensus I'm getting is that nobody has anything groundbreaking they want to do.
Well, the only other idea I had, but I don't know if it would help out a lot. That's why I'm not saying it's worth it by any means if it's the only idea, but maybe somehow sabotage the docks. But again,
I think I got too fixated on the docks, Jared. I don't think the docks are going to be a huge player in this.
that's why I was thinking it's not worth it if it's the only idea, but if I needed to fill a week, then that would have been probably what I would have looked at, but yeah, I mean, other than that, Beretta's pretty much more or less ready.
Okay. Jesse?
I'm ready.
Ready? Okay. The council meets, and you guys compare notes. You guys have assembled all of the generals and all of the leaders of the various factions that you've brought together over your long journey here on Athos, and drop a loose plan of deployment that will go into effect when the revolution begins. But you set a day, we'll say 2 days time from now, the forces can get aligned, we can go over the plan again and again, and the revolution to overtake Balak from the Mad King Andropinus will begin. and it is a montage of weapons being hidden, positions being drawn, plans being gone over again and again and again. And when the dawn does rise on that day, change that will affect Athos and maybe unknown forces will begin. And with that, I'm going to end tonight's session. I have all of my notes. I will provide you your forces before our next meeting. I have these character sheets for you guys. I will send out images, and I will have hard copies in person. And then, yeah, we will next week decide the fate of Balak.
All
So-
right. How exciting!
All right.
The culmination of what we're like 2 years and a couple odd months.
Yeah, this is literally everything you guys have done coming up to a point.
Awesome.
So
For some of us, it's more than that.
Actually, yeah, because
lifetime.
campaign from before.
2 lifetimes for Cora.
You're not wrong.
So yeah,
You are correct.
Correct.
Cora act.
Uh,
But
It's
yeah,
too
gentlemen,
close to erect.
At this point, I am
That's what
going
she
to
said.
go basically into milestone leveling. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
awesome.
So, experience no longer just like points in, fucking.
Whose
whose
lines
lines
are they?
anyway? The points don't matter anymore. So it's now milestone leveling.
You
And a
think
lot
in Canada
of
and Europe they
improv.
call it kilometer stone?
Only God knows, Minor.
You believe in Canada?
Canada's a myth.
It's a myth. Like Narnia.
It's like
It's a myth
Narnia.
put by the liberals.
Them damn liberal
But yeah,
moves.
that's tonight's adventure, boys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, John. As always, this has been a lot of strategy.
Definitely a lot. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna play kind of fast and loose and see what they come up with, and I did not anticipate some of tonight's moves. So we will see what happens.
for better or for worse.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. So
Awesome.
The amount of prep and strategy you got going on here, John, oof, it's crazy.
Yeah. I can't imagine the levels of 4D chess you're playing right now.
I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna let them make all the moves they want. I'm gonna do my whatever I had planned, and then it's gonna be affected by what they had, and we're gonna go from there. So
Okay, barring anybody, getting sick or whatever, are we all good for next week or
Next
Could
week,
be.
yes.
I'm down for next week.
okay? Well, everybody who's sick tonight, get well soon. That sucks.
Let's
I was there
decide
myself.
the fate of a fucking city next week.
Yeah. All right. And pretty much, I mean, maybe the next one won't close it out, but we'll be closing this campaign within a really close period of time. So.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah. Next time on Ashen Wagon Adventures. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for coming on tonight. We got Oracle, we got Long Z, we got some schmuck named AM Mayhem skunking up my chat. And Bracton's Prime as always.
So it was very action-packed. It was kind of a planned strategy meeting, but next week will definitely be a lot of action. So
I still thought that was the way you broke it down. Still pretty easy to follow, even if you're at face value with all this. But but anyways, yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you probably next week. So same wagon time, same wagon channel. All right,
yeah,
John?
we'll leave a wagon on for you. So come on by.
All right, have a great night, everybody. Laters.
Yeah, good night.